Today marks the 80th anniversary of World War II's Dambuster raid, and I've got an incredible watch that commemorates that mission. Let's get into it! Yes, and welcome to the Mad Watch Collector Show. Today's show is all about a watch from a company called Zero West. Based in Emsworth, they've been going since 2016, and they don't just make good watches. They make very good watches that have some sort of attachment to amazing feats of engineering throughout history, from car racing to aviation. This watch today is all about World War II and the Lancaster bomber, specifically about Operation Chastise. On the 17th of May 1943, just 2 months after Squadron 617 were formed, they were finally told their task: to blow up 3 major dams in Germany's Ruhr Valley. These dams were vital in producing hydroelectric energy, making steel, iron, and in turn fueling the Nazi war machine. 19 Lancaster bombers were to set off at night, travel 400 miles, flying below enemy radar, carrying a single bomb. But this wasn't any old bomb, it was a bouncing bomb. Yes, designed and created by Barnes Wallis, he found that a cylindrical bomb, if dropped at 60 feet, traveling at 200 miles an hour, and being spun backwards at 500 rotations per minute, could make a bomb bounce across the water, bounce over the anti-torpedo fencing, they'd hit the dam, sink to the bottom, and because of the backspin, would draw into the wall, then detonate. Now this, for Wing Commander Guy Gibson and 617 Squadron, was hard enough, wasn't it? But they would most certainly be welcomed by enemy fire. And as soon as they reached the coast of Holland, which was occupied by Nazi Germany, it was only the protection of night stopping them from being sitting ducks. But amazingly, the Myrna and Ada dams were successfully breached using the bouncing bomb. The second wave of Lancasters, it was their task to fly to the Sorpa Dam. But unfortunately, due to 2 Lancasters going down under fire and 2 having to turn back to RAF Scampton, it just left 1 Lancaster to try and breach the dam, which unfortunately they didn't. It was attempted again by one of the reserve Lancasters on the 3rd wave, but the first Lancaster of that wave of 5 was ED825. And that plane is one of the reasons why this watch is very special. Great, so we know what the watch is commemorating. I think it's time we took a look at it. Are you Dambuster ready? Let's go! So here it is, the Zero West DB80, an absolutely stunning looking watch with so many angles and curves.
It's hard to tell you where to start to look first.
Everything you see here has been built and assembled in the UK, which is a great feat of achievement in itself. Those polished steel lugs are separate to that matte finish stainless steel billet case. It's a look that is synonymous with Zero West, and I really do like it. Very interesting looking. We've got 8 flutes that have been machined around the case. That screw-in, polished, knurled crown at 3 o'clock is fantastic, signed with the Zero West logo. But this is a watch you can tell that has been made by a true engineer and not just a watch enthusiast. That crown has a triple lock screw-in system, and the case back is held together with 6 screws. Now you thought the front of this watch was good. I'm going to save the case back for a little bit later, and trust me, it's worth waiting for. But first impressions, this watch is special. Quick spec check. Okay, a big reason why I wanted this watch in for review from Zero West was the dimensions. Usually the company does make rather large watches, and a couple of years ago they had already made a Lancaster bomber watch, the DB1 and 2. These watches were big and chunky, and although I really liked them, they just don't fit my wrist. But this DB80 I think is a game changer for Zero West and could open the doors to those that like a little bit more of a smaller watch but still have a lot of wrist presence. So the case is 41mm in diameter, just over 13mm thick, 46.3 lug to lug, and a lug width of 22mm. So those sort of dimensions are definitely more appealing,
in my view,
to more people. The dial is protected by a custom-made sapphire domed crystal, and with the screw down crown and screwed case back, this watch is water resistant to 100 meters. So perfectly capable for a little swim, but I doubt you'd want to take it swimming. The strap is a custom-made military and aerospace grade cross-linked fluoroelastomer rubber. Definitely feels like the FKM rubbers, like your Rubber B or your Everest straps. Very soft, very malleable, very premium. We've also got a signed tang polished buckle, and I've got to admit, I do love that royal military blue colour. Time to look at the face.
Dial time.
And again, for Zero West, going above and beyond can be said for this dial. It's been inspired by the Smith's altimeter found in a 1940s Lancaster bomber. Now what we have here is a brass dial which has been covered with black enamel. Everything is printed from the logo. At 9 o'clock you can see the date, 17th of the 5th, 1943, chastised underneath, and at the bottom of the dial you can see 2 coordinates. That will give you the destination of the Sorpe Dam in Germany. We also have the 3 letters ALT, Alt, for altimeter, and then recessed in we've got 1800, which represents 6 p.m. in a 24-hour clock. And just those little details, like at 6 o'clock we've got that white arrow as an indice. Love that touch. We've got white avionic style hands, and just like the numerals and indices, they are painted with superluminova, and I do love that touch with the red sweeping seconds hand. Also, it's not your normal conventional hand stack. It's got an oversized disc, looks very cool. Overall, an amazingly designed dial, inspired by the Smith's altimeter from the past, but it works so well as a watch face. So we've got Lume on the hands, Lume on the numerals. Out of 10, let's see how this puppy glows. Yeah, it's not bad at all, is it? I mean, it's not a diver, it's a pilot's watch, but as this watch represents a night mission...
It's nice to have a bit of lume, isn't it?
So powering this watch is a Swiss Sellita SW200-1. Sellita have 4 grades of their SW200, and this is the top one. Remember, these watches are built and hand assembled in the UK by a watchmaker that is Rolex accredited. Anyway, the movement has a 28,800 beats per hour, 26 joules. It's automatic with a power reserve of 41 hours. Zero West watchmaker regulates this watch, which will guarantee you get a stonking accurate movement.
Could you just click that like button, please? It really helps the channel. Thank you.
Right, I've made you wait long enough. So what we have here is an exhibition caseback displaying an aluminium disc of something special. The flat sapphire glass has been reverse printed, and you can see the day, 17th of May 1943, Sorpe Dam, 617 Squadron, ED825. That aluminium disc is a piece of a Dambuster Lancaster. Yes, piloted by Flight Lieutenant McCarthy, it was the only one of 5 sent to the Sorpe Dam. It dropped its bomb, didn't breach it, but flew off safely back to RAF Scampton in Lincoln. That Lancaster was involved in a few missions after the Dambusters, including a supply run to northern France. Under heavy fire, the ED825 crashed into a hill, unfortunately killing all the crew members. It wasn't until recent times that a group of excavators went to the alleged crash site in France and managed to find pieces of that Lancaster. Now, fortunately for Zero West, they have gotten pretty good friends with an artist that went along to that excavation, and they managed to buy several parts that were recovered. Those pieces were smelted down and turned into cylinders, and those cylinders were turned into discs. So to have a watch with an actual bloody bit of Dambuster in it, it's just crazy. I commend the boys at Zero West for being that passionate and that enthusiastic about building and making something that special for a watch enthusiast. The connection this watch now has to the Dambuster raid is pretty special.
Hello.
On my 6.5-inch wrist, and this watch to me looks amazing. I'm not usually one for pilot's watches because they tend to be quite big, but the way those custom-made lugs slope down from the case to then hug my wrist, I think makes it look awesome. The case definitely catches the light outside, and what a watch to have on your wrist to start off a conversation, eh? there's a few. First of all, the overall design. The case, the dial, the hands, amazing. They've made this watch smaller than their regular ones, and I think that is a huge game changer for the brand. The quality of the build, the construction, the assembly, the fit and finish, plus the operating of the watch, to me is way above the likes of, I don't know, Bremont, Oris. The attention to detail on every facet of the watch can be seen by everyone. So, to mark this 80th anniversary, Zero West are only making 50 of these. There's only just enough ED825 to go around in the back of them. Now, the other negative could be, to you out there, the price. And that is £3,700. And now would be the time for me to have a go at them, tell you it's not worth it,
And be on your way.
The thing is, I can't. I've met one of the founders. I know the enthusiasm, the passion, the extra lengths that have gone into making these watches. Apart from the movement, everything custom designed and custom built. Listen, that comes with a price. Plus, heaven forbid they got to make a bit of money. Disclaimer, Zero West sent me this watch to review and I get to keep it. It would not have had any effect on the review because I knew I'd love it. With all my watches, I try to layer at least one memory on them to make that watch worth more than the sum of its parts. Zero West give you a story before you've even put the watch on. This isn't just a watch, it's a time capsule to a highly celebrated mission in World War II. It represents the skill, the courage, the bravery of those amazingly young men that pretty much knew they had a 50-50 chance of coming back home. Only 11 of the 19 Lancasters made it back and 53 servicemen didn't come back. It's people like them that risked their lives so that generations to come could live in a free country. Not only do we reflect and commemorate the crews that were on the mission, but also the civilian people that died from the dams breaching. The operation was carried out to try and nullify, dislocate and cripple the Nazi war machine so that the war, which had already been going for 4 years, could be halted early. Wasn't quite the success that the RAF were looking for, but you could not put a price on the morale boost it not only have on the Allied armed forces, but for the Allied civilians all around the world. Thanks to the guys at Zero West, this is a time capsule that I am going to keep for as long as I'm alive. And in my family, I will make sure that Lieutenant McCarthy and his crew of 7 on the ED825 will not be forgotten. These watches will be released today. They will be built to order and it will take 3 weeks to do so. I can see these going just like that. Here it is, my wife's first impressions of the Zero West DB80. Overall, I quite like this watch. I like the shapes around, what is that, the bezel? It looks a little bit like a speedometer, and the pusher on the side looks like a drain pipe. The logo looks like a car logo. Pretty good. You can't get a better seal of approval on this channel than the one from the wife. Thanks for watching today, and if I've got you for a few more minutes, why don't you check this show out? Oh, it's incredible. Oh, just magnifique. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Click it. Go on, click it. Click it.